I'm not sure how no one on this app has ever talked about the Alaskan Triangle, but if you thought the Bermuda Triangle was crazy, the Alaskan Triangle is dark. So the Alaskan Triangle connects three major cities: Anchorage, Juneau, and this north city called Barrow. It's one of the only places left in North America that's been untouched to man. The triangle didn't start attracting public attention until October of 1972, when a small private plane that was carrying the US Majority House Leader and 3 other passengers just vanished into thin air. For more than a month, 50 civilian planes and 40 military aircrafts covered a search of 32,000 miles and did not find any evidence of the plane, the men, wreckage, or debris. Mainstream media tried to paint this image that we had another Amelia Earhart situation unfolding in front of us. But it's been publicly recorded that since the 1970s, 16,000 people have went missing in this triangle. And as of February 23rd, 2022, 5 other people just went missing.
Today's video, we're going to be talking about crazy stuff that's happening in Alaska. I saw some alien bases, some missing people. There's also creatures that's popping up and going around and attacking people in Alaska. It's a whole lot going on. I'm currently reading this book so I can do some more videos about history for y'all, not because it's Black History Month. This book has been sitting on my bookshelf for a year. I gotta stop procrastinating. I'm just gonna read it. While I do my research, we're gonna be learning about Alaska. You know, it's not even in the United States. It's basically part of Canada. What was the point? I personally feel like there's an alien base there, that they have a vortex, some type of, what the what's that? That just threw me off. Anyways, you see how Alaska is not connected to the United States? I'm trying to figure out what is the point of involving it into the United States. What is the reason? What is the reason? Because it's not that many people that live there. And the natives there have been talking about some real crazy stuff that's going on over there. So let's just get into the video. So do y'all remember the Chinese spy balloon and all of that stuff that was happening? And even the UFO that they said was flying over Alaska?
Successfully took down a high-altitude airborne object off the northern coast of Alaska at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today.
But we all know that wasn't actually operated by an alien. Now let's get into the stuff that's over there.
Have you guys heard of the Dark Pyramid? Well, apparently there's an underground pyramid in Alaska that's suppressing consciousness. It all started in 1992 when China carried out an underground nuclear test in Longpor. The blast waves from the nuclear explosion were so powerful that it was detected by seismologists. While they were analyzing the seismic activity, they happened to find a pyramid structure twice the size of the Pyramid of Giza, located west of Mount McKinley. Eventually, engineers and military servicemen who low-key worked at the pyramid site came forward with this story publicly and told how they ventured deep underground to study what this pyramid was and why it was buried. They said that the top of the pyramid, the vertex, was 150 feet underground and spanned for over 750 feet below. They also disclosed that the pyramid could generate enough power for the entire nation of Canada. It's extremely ancient and the government doesn't know who made it. And if that isn't enough holy shit for you, wait till you hear that Tom DeLonge, the former musician from the band Blink-182, said on a recent podcast that he knows someone from the Pentagon, which by the way he does, and that based on their findings after studying this pyramid for so many years, they discovered that this structure is suppressing consciousness. Whatever that means. What's even crazier about all this is the fact that Alaska is home to some very strange occurrences. There's a specific region in Alaska where thousands of people have gone missing, aircraft have mysteriously vanished, and creatures unknown to science, such as the Bigfoot, have been seen. They call it the Alaska Triangle since many of these occurrences happen within a specific triangle area. Could it be that this pyramid structure holds so much power that it's responsible for all the weird shit that's been happening in Alaska? What do you guys think?
Don't y'all love when it's raining? Like, it's just a very, like, cozy type of session. But anyways, now they're talking about it's stuff under
Alaska Triangle, known for its deep waters down to a staggering 26,000 feet, the perfect place for an underwater alien base. There have been many reports over the past few decades of unidentified underwater objects.
These UFOs have been tracked underwater and stayed underwater for a long time, evaded the Navy, and they go so deep that we don't know where they're. I am very convinced that there's some kind of base underwater.
According to my sources, there are extraterrestrial bases under the water off the coast of Alaska. It's the perfect place for extraterrestrials to set up underwater bases. You have 33,000 miles of untapped coast and over 3 million lakes.
In 1969, Dan Willis, a naval communications operator, decoded a secret message detailing a jaw-dropping UFO sighting.
I was a certified high-speed code operator, type of thing. I worked at the code room, the Naval Communications Station in San Francisco. I received a secret priority message from a ship that was off the coast of Alaska. The crew reported a brightly glowing reddish-orange elliptical object approximately 70 feet in diameter that emerged out of the ocean and then shot straight up into space. The radar operator tracked the blips going in excess of 7,000 miles per hour. I have to admit, for a second, I was thinking of taking this secret message, make a copy of it, but I knew if I did, I'd be facing 10 years in prison, so I had a second thought.
The incident left him with more questions than answers, prompting him to hunt for more sightings across Alaska's ocean. Dan uncovered multiple similar reports of disc-shaped objects emerging from the ocean near Alaska. One such report from 1945 describes an encounter with a large round object that rose from the sea near the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. The object, estimated to be 150 to 200 feet wide, circled the ship, leaving the crew both mesmerized and uneasy.
They witnessed a UFO come up out of the water that was 150 to 200 feet wide, and it started circling the boat.
1945. It was on its own propulsion system, wasn't affected by the wind, the sailors said.
It circled around the ship 2 or 3 times.
All 14 members of the crew witnessed this and reported this when they got back to shore.
Mysteriously,
The top-secret report compiled by the crew never saw the light of day.
All the reports that I've researched through, people see things coming up under the ocean and they shoot off at tremendous speeds.
Alaska, a land of breathtaking beauty and home to some of the deepest waters on Earth. A fact that might make you pause and wonder what could be lurking in those mysterious depths.
I don't know, bro. Come on, let's just do some more investigating.
Declassified CIA documents talk of an underground alien base in the middle of the Alaska Triangle. The Cold War was at its peak and the CIA had just started experimenting with remote viewers. So they fly in the best, Pat Price, a former California police officer. In his first session, they send him to Russia to report on any nuclear activity. He opens his eyes and they eagerly ask him to make a sketch of what he saw. His drawing, what you see here. The CIA agents look at each other stunned and they flip over this picture. He won them over instantly. In the documents, they would describe him as exceptionally accurate. So he starts again, but this time he sees a distractor. A distractor is something that remote viewers see during a mission that pull them in another direction. It would take him to Mount Hayes in the middle of the Alaska Triangle, and what he would see would probably lead to his death. He would discover that an alien race had built a base in the middle of the mountain. They looked just like us, but had different eyes and internals, and humans were working around them. They were monitoring the Cold War, and were behind shutting down nukes midair.
Now, I want to do some investigating because you know that the government has already been into this spiritual stuff and the astral projections, the remote viewing, the experiments that they did as far as like esoteric stuff. Everything is mythology. You can't prove that, but they're using people who are spiritually in tune in their system. Okay, here's just a little proof because I did a little more research on this dude, Pat Price.
Okay, y'all, here's the story of a man who saw an extraterrestrial base. A famous remote viewer named Pat Price in 1970 was so good at what he did, the US government hired him. He was so good, he was able to read documents in cabinets. Note that government's been hiring remote viewers, so it's nothing new. On his own, he did some remote viewing work to see where alien bases were here on Earth. He walked into the office and told them on his spare time he thought he would look into the matter. He quickly found out that there was one in Mount Hayes, Alaska. He said this one was under political protection, meaning the government had its own people to make sure nobody would pry into it. When he viewed it, he described it like it was the base in Men in Black. It was a transit point for aliens and humans alike. Aliens of different races would come here to do work on Earth. I'm guessing this is one of the bases where humans were working with extraterrestrials. He then said they started to remote view him, so he pulled out in fear. He then died sometime later, which they're thinking he was poisoned from a cup of coffee. It's actually kind of scary because he was very credible. His death was no coincidence.
Child, you know he saw something he wasn't supposed to see. Y'all, I just found something else too as I was scrolling. This man was so powerful that they did a documentary on him.
The end of Pat Price. CIA hired Price away from us. And 4 months after joining the CIA, Price was dead. Pat comes in with this description of an underwater sabotage training facility several kilometers away from the seacoast. And that information was passed on to the Libyan desk. They saw a facility, basically, where he said that they hadn't seen before. And a few days later, Pat Price died.
Ooh, see, that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm just trying to open your mind up to what's really going on. I want y'all to really know that it's not just... What is that noise? We just had proof right there that they using remote viewers, right? So imagine if they're using astral project. Imagine if they had government training facilities where people are learning how to do telekinesis, aerokinesis, hydrokinesis, all of these movies that they're making about these facilities that are training people. Let's talk about the Men in Black.
This video might be clear evidence of the Men in Black. As early as 1947, the elusive Men in Black, a secretive group of individuals allegedly working for the government, have been reported by people all over the world. They're known to only show up when UFOs and other strange occurrences get out of hand to prevent mass hysteria. In 2008, in a Niagara Falls hotel, a security camera captured this. At first glance, this video might not prove much other than two abnormally large men wearing all black and walking with a purpose. But what makes this story stand out are the witnesses who saw these men in person. They describe them as having identical faces, extremely pale skin, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and abnormally large eyes. A woman who spoke—
Y'all. Wait a minute. You remember this? I astral projected and went to the past. I told you that I saw people who looked at exactly like that picture you just saw. They was literally in the... Okay. And the doctor shapeshifts and turns into, I don't even know how to explain it. These beings, they all look different. The doctor didn't have like a nose, but it was like alien skin. This is what it gave. This is exactly what it gave in my astral projection. That is exactly what I saw.
And abnormally large eyes. A woman who spoke with the men claimed that she felt that the men knew what she was thinking. Sound familiar?
I literally explained that in my astral projection experience, and I'm just now seeing that, and that face is exactly what the doctor's face looked like. Oh my God, bro. Now we finna talk about the creatures that's there.
They are said to be responsible for thousands of missing children in Alaska. This is the Kolupalik. It is an Inuit legend that haunts the waters of their land in northern Alaska. Even though these creatures are in the water, they are far from what you think mermaids and sirens look like. They are more fishy in appearance, with greasy yet slimy hair, and scaly skin with webbed fingers. They are said to lure unsuspected children into the water with their humming. And if the children aren't near the water enough, they will snatch them through the ice. Before we continue this story, you see this thing snatch your kid down into the water. What are you doing? Leave your answers down below. Me personally, we don't have to panic. I can just make another one. They put them in these large fur jackets and pouches called emotics and swim them down into the deep, dark, cold water, feeding on the children's young, innocent energy in order to stay immortal forever. Countless mothers even today warn their children every day not to venture alone too close to the water. Now this right here is supposedly a movie prop, but this is exactly what one would look like if you saw it. So if you're ever in Alaska, make sure you're staying safe away from the waters.
Okay, y'all, so there's this town in Alaska that's literally abandoned, and they say it's a ghost town, and there's these Sasquatch like beings that walk around, and they've been terrorizing people to the point to where everybody just left. Like for everybody to leave, these things have to be walking around at that point. Here is some of the local residents speaking.
I really believe Portlock is evil.
There's a lot of strange stuff happening down there.
It was a pretty large community. It was a booming town. It had a school, it had a post office. It probably would have been a city, you know, if it would have kept thriving. But then people started to disappear. Over a span of 2 years, over 30 people were found dead or missing. The elders evacuated the town.
Went from 100 to a 0 overnight. Everybody left.
Just around 10 years ago, after Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez blamed the lab for the massive earthquake in Haiti, scientists started poking around. The lab cost over $290 million and was called HAARP, which stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, and it was located in a remote part of Alaska. According to the U.S. military, the lab studied an energetic and active region of the upper atmosphere near phenomena like the aurora borealis originate. They allegedly sent radio beams into the atmosphere and studied the responses. It was one of the world's most powerful transmitter facilities, spanning over 33 acres and utilizing 180 large antennas. Due to this, it is often theorized that they intentionally caused global warming, natural disasters, and even mysterious humming noises in the sky. Even worse, some believe it held a weapon capable of mass mind control. It was shut down in 2013, possibly because of all the conspiracy. Why do you think it was?
Alaska, people. Alaska. Here go another one.
The scariest Bigfoot story ever may not be all what you think it is, though. So, as we know, Portland, Alaska was abandoned in 1950 because people were reporting this mysterious hairy creature that was murdering and stalking people in the surrounding area. Also, the indigenous tribes of the Sugapec tribe, I believe. I might be mistaken, but I was reading an article on this, so I apologize. But they were also talking about their version of Bigfoot called the Nantinnaq, and basically they were educating the settlers on that too, and were warning the settlers on that. But basically in Portland, Alaska, people were finding people disappearing, made Bigfoot prints in the surrounding area that were 18 inches long, people washing up ashores. There was even this one murder case where this guy was hit with a really heavy blunt object, and when they investigated, they were really stumped because the object was so heavy, like no normal person could lift that up. Now, fast forward, I found this article of this lady. They call her Sally, but apparently her mother, she comes from a Sugapec ancestry tribe upbringing, and she talks about how this story was perhaps told in a way to cover up the real truth behind it. Now, they do believe that there is this version of Bigfoot, but it's not what you think it is. Now, she claims that it might be a shapeshifter. So if you go looking for it, you'll never find it because it's not an actual Bigfoot. Also, you can't kill it, you can't capture it, you can't see it. Second of all, the indigenous people fed into this narrative because they kind of wanted this place to themselves, and they wanted to protect this land because it's a way to connect to their ancestors.
Okay, y'all. I hope y'all got a little education today about Alaska. And, I just thought about it. I'm like, why is Alaska even part of, the 50 states? It's not even technically connected to the borders of America. I hope that y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching. And I'll let y'all know when I finish this book. Stay dangerous.